Hi, my name is Zion. Welcome back to the Pot Smoker's Bible. I am the author of the Smoker's Bible, and today's chapter is chapter 2, part 1, and it's called the Book of Zion. The Book of Zion is the prophecy of Israel. It contains a message sent to us from the gods of our ancestors. It's a testimonial through the prophets, and its purpose is to fulfill the promise made by the God to Abraham. That promise of Zion is the reason for this book. The prophecy has, since its creation, been a mystery. In order to understand the message left to us, I rearranged the text. I brought together the scattered pieces of the puzzle, and I put them into a coherent order. I have made sense of a 3,000-year-old prophetic mystery, the mystery of the prophecy of Israel. The prophecy is a detailed depiction of our current events. It foretells the society that we live in. It describes our political and our religious systems of government and theology. It is as if the prophets watched our news broadcasts. The story that they tell is our story. It is the story of today. The prophets left us a detailed set of instructions to follow. They gave us both the good and the bad, the actions to be taken to fulfill the prophecy. Those who play the part of the damned have already done as they've been instructed. The righteous have yet to realize their true identity. They will soon be in a position to follow their own set of instructions left to us by the prophets of Israel. The identity of the damned and that of the righteous has always been part of the mystery. The following chapters will illustrate in great detail the identities of both. The prophecy set up a circumstance wherein the roles of good and evil are reversed. The damned, thinking themselves righteous, have sealed their fate. The righteous, thinking themselves damned, have allowed themselves to be punished for crimes that they never committed. Each has taken the role of the other, creating a mystery unsolvable. The biggest obstacle of the mystery is the element called Zion. Now, to many people, Zion is the name of a mountain, but the prophecy speaks in other terms. Zion is referred to as a female. Mountains are not feminine, therefore, Zion is not a mountain. So, what is she then? Who is Zion? The key to the mystery is the identity of Zion. Now, although the text has always spoken in the terms of Zion the feminine, the male-dominated society that we live in has always believed in a male prophetic figure, Messiah. Messiah is part of the text. In fact, there are two male Masonic figures, but the main figure is that of the female known as Zion, not the male Messiah. Now, the two figures of prophecy known as Messiahs are depicting two historically separate men. One, we know the first is the son of Israel, who attempts to fulfill the prophecy and fails. We know of him as Jesus. The other is the one that Jesus himself foretold, the future king, the true Masonic figure. Each of these two messiahs are a prophetic figure. One was, and one is yet to come. But they are both secondary to Zion. She is the main figure of the prophecy. The instructions left by the gods of old through the prophets are for Zion's use. She is set some very specific tasks that she must carry out in order to fulfill prophecy. But who is she, this Zion? The prophet Isaiah, who is the chief prophet of Israel, tells us exactly who she is. The 54th chapter of his book tells her life story. The woman who is Zion must fulfill chapter 54's requirements. We will recognize Zion because her life story parallels that of chapter 54. From the 54th chapter of Isaiah, we also know that the future Messiah is the childhood sweetheart of Zion. He rejects her in their youth and returns to her as a husband and as king, fulfilling the Jewish prophecy of the sacred marriage. Now, Messiah is the returned lover of Zion and of chapter 54. When the Jewish Sabbath was instituted, it was to honor the reunion of Zion and Messiah. The first part of the Sabbath is in honor of Zion, the bride. The second part of the Sabbath was meant to honor Messiah, the groom. However, current traditions, as I understand them, put God in place of Messiah, thus confusing the ritual. The Jewish people have been looking towards Messiah, or towards Zion, since they were rejected as a people by God. They reject God, and in return, they were rejected. The message of the prophets was that of a new Jewish people, the family of Abraham, which would serve God as Israel had not. The Jewish Israel has been waiting for Zion since their downfall 3,000 years ago. Now, the prophecy of Israel is the story of the creation of the new people known as Zion. This new nation is to be created by Zion the prophet. It is her actions that set in motion the order of events that fulfill prophecy. She sets the stage. In a single day, she creates a new nation, a new family line of Abraham and Sarah, thus fulfilling the prophecy by living out the story. This new family of Zion is a unique nation, unlike any other nation in history. Zion will be a nation of priests. The genetic the genetic makeup of this new bloodline will set them apart from the other peoples. The entire nation will work for God on behalf of humanity. Their God will rule their nation. Zion will be unlike any other nation in that they are priests of God and servants of man. Unlike other families, the family of Zion is not a bloodline, so to speak. Zion is the matriarch of a diverse people who come from every family line on earth. They are a nation, they are from every nation and every ethnicity. Their creation is that a matter of circumstance, not of heredity. They are a family, but in name only. It was the actions taken by the nations from which Zion comes that gave them their identity. Subconsciously following the instructions of prophecy, the governing nations have implemented the captivity of Zion. This captivity has forced this people to become unique. The governments of the world created the people of Zion by their policies and by their laws and by their actions. Um, History as we know it is a series of events put into motion by those beings we call God. They have led us step by step to this moment. They did so through the family of Abraham, in keeping with Yahweh's promise to bless the earth through Israel. Our history is the result of God's plan and action. Our society is the result of the interactions of the three Abrahamic based religions. They are, of course, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. The animosity of these three related religions created a society able to hold captive an innocent people. Um, has taken the hatred of the three major religions of Abraham's line to create the right conditions for Zion to be created. The Jewish part in the rise of Zion is their inability to allow themselves to be different from other nations. They rejected God's command to be a nation of priests whose sole purpose was to serve God and man. They demanded a human king to rule over them, rejecting God as their king. Thus creating the need for a new Jewish family line called Zion. The part Christianity played is to undermine justice. The idea of a blood sacrifice allows for the guilty to go free, relaxing the moral code of Israel. It was the sacrifice of Christ that led to the unjust treatment of Zion, the Christians' contribution to current events. The final element of the social injustice is the holy zeal of Islam. By creating a people so zealous of Allah's will that they would incite holy wars for centuries and become terrorists today, some. Islam allowed for a cruel and inhuman treatment of Zion. The fanatical zeal of Islam is the final necessary condition for the creation of Zion, creating a holy war against the people of Zion, thus ending part 1 of chapter 2 of the Book of Zion. See you next time.